Greetings everyone, my name is Tony Holowitz and I want to thank you for being here for this tutorial slash review. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself so you have a sense of where I'm coming from and make some disclosures. So I am a partner at Keystroke, and Keystroke is the developers of the Linktivity series of products. One of the products they've developed is called Link2Quotes. Now as a partner with Keystroke, I want you to understand that I like to look at their software and say, from a end user point of view, how would you react to this? If you were the one starting to use this, how would you understand it? How would you come to make it a really valuable tool? And one of the things about me is the nature of my business is I have the opportunity to sell Axe software. I have the opportunity to offer different services for training and consulting. So through the years, it's worked out that the folks at Keystroke handle my quoting. So if there's a quote that has to go out for Axe software, they handle that. So I don't have to do any quoting. Typically, when I'm quoting my rates for consulting, I'll just send a simple email. So the reality is I don't have to use Link2Quotes, but because I'm trying to learn software from the point of view of the end user, I decided to embark in learning about Link2Quotes. And I got to be honest, I've invested a lot of time in trying to understand it. Some of it is time where I've had clients that have bought it, I've worked with them, I've talked to them about it. And it is my opinion that Link2Quotes, if you're considering getting it, I highly recommend that you have someone work with you. Now, I can do consulting, I can work with you on this. The purpose of this video is not to say, hey, hire me. The purpose of the video is to say, listen, I think this is a good tool, but there's a learning curve. And there's so many things you have to know about when you start working with it. I could see how it could get frustrating if you're brand new to it. So guidance is helpful. I'm creating a lot of videos on how to work with it so you can look at the videos. But if you really want some one-on-one help, I recommend it. So let's back up for a second. Should you purchase Link2Quotes? Well, right now, as of today in March of 2024, there are two editions. There's a team edition and an individual edition. The team edition is $240 a year. The individual is $180 per year, and that's per user. So cost-wise, it's not that expensive. Now, on that note, if you are in the past within Axe software using sales opportunities, let it be known that those sales opportunities can be turned into quotes with this software. Or you can create quotes from scratch. Brand new, you can start from nothing and create those quotes. So it really depends on where you come to this. Another thing is, let's say just for the sake of our discussion, you have to invest 5 to 15 hours of your time in this software. So let's say you pay for that time. Well, that could get a little bit expensive, but between the software and paying for it, the question you have to ask yourself is, can this help me sell more? And I think it can. And I think it can because it has some really great tools built into it. So what you're looking at right here is the Link2Quotes Team Edition, and I'm looking at some of the options in this, and I want to walk you through this a little bit. As far as working with the software, the basic concept is, let's say you have a product or a service. They've changed it so if you do not have products that you sell, but more services, they've designed it with different templates and looks so that you can easily adapt it to your service. So let's just create a scenario here. Let's say you're in the ice cream business and you want to sell ice cream. Those are products. So what you can do is you can create a quote, but there's some things you have to do to get to that point. One of the things you have to do is you have to enter products. So I'm going to click right here on products. And these are some of the ice cream products I've put in. You'll notice I've put in a price. Entering products is the first aspect of getting into this. So now that you've got the products in there, you can create a quote. And you'll see I have created some quotes already. So when you come in here, you can see all the quotes you've created. You can filter it. You can filter it based on different statuses, different time frames. But in this case, I just have 4 sample ice cream quotes that I'm looking at. What do these quotes look like once they're completed? Well, I'm going to come up here and I have a quote that is open. And I want to draw your attention to a few things. There are so many options in the way you set up your quotes. As an example of that, one of the options I have for the first three products, vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, is you can adjust the quantity, and you'll notice as I adjust the quantity, the price changes to reflect the quantity I've ordered. So I can go up and all the totals adjust as well. Down below, you'll notice peach, mint chocolate, and cookies and cream ice cream. Well, here you can adjust the quantity because that's the way I've set it up behind the scenes. And also, another aspect of these three items is that you have to select one of these three and only one. So the way these three items were set up for this example, I can only choose one of them. So for example, if you have three types of services, 1, 2, and 3, and they can only pick one, this is how you can set it in your sales quote that it allows them to only pick one of them. So the folks at Keystroke, Ken Quigley, the owner of Keystroke, who's developed this and really worked to give as many options as possible, they've done a great job of thinking of these things. And as people give them feedback, they are changing the way they work with this. And this is an evolving product. It keeps changing. So that's a good thing. So this is just an example. Now this quote, this template, this look, this layout can be adjusted in many different ways. You can adjust the colors, you can adjust what you see in it. Some people want for service quotes, different kinds of options for those kind of quotes. But there are so many adjustments I can make to the look and feel of this. On that note, when you go back and you look at the quotes, across the top here, these are our quotes, but then we have something called the activity dashboard, where when you send out quotes, you can make decisions about those quotes based on some of the activity that's occurred. You can tell if someone's viewed the quote, like in this example, a contact viewed the quote. Okay. You have reports of the different quotes, and this is probably a little more relevant in my opinion if you have a team working under you. You can get a sense of what's going on with all the quotes. There are templates that you can choose from. So right now I have a couple different quotes. Here's my ice cream quote. If I want to create a new quote based out of this, I just click on this arrow and it starts a new quote. Products, this to me is one of the most interesting aspects of working with this tool. Once you go in and create a product, you'll notice, if you remember, in my example on the invoice, these three items are part of what's called an option group. And an option group allows you to only pick one of these three items. When you set up a product, this is an option. But if I want to go inside and look at what a product looks like, I'm going to come here to click on Edit Product to edit the chocolate ice cream. So when you're working with a product, you can come in here and you can decide what kind of product is it. Is it a regular product or a product bundle? More on that later. You can give it a name. You could give it an item number. You can break things down by brand or category. You can even add in a description right here so you get more of a description. For the way I set up this particular product, I avoided a description. If you have a website and you want to put a link to either a product image that's on your website, or if you want to put a link to the product page on your website, you can put that information here so they can click to get more information. You can create a list price, adjusted prices based on quantity. You can list your costs so you can have a sense of your profit. You can decide, is it an optional item? Or when you go to put it in the invoice, you can decide whether or not it's an adjustable amount item. So tons of options. What I do recommend is when you first get into the software, I recommend doing something fun. Go in and put 3 ice cream flavors in and practice creating some quotes with just a few items and get used to the way it works versus getting in depth with your product. Just keep it simple initially. And these are great products to keep in here, just so when you go to train people, you can refer back to them and use these products as examples of that. When you are actually working on a quote, and I'm going to go back to the quotes for a minute. When you're actually working on the quote, I'm going to come here to edit this particular quote. So when I come into the quote, I have options in here as well. Where it says bill to, I can go in and this is directly connected to your ACT database. So any of your clients or prospects that are in that database, You can search for them by name to set up or grab all the information from ACT so it comes right into the quote. Having said that, when I come to the line items, these are all the items that are in my quote. And when we're working with this, if I click, for example, on chocolate ice cream, this is the product area for chocolate ice cream. And one of the options is I can mark it as optional. I can mark this item as selected, so it's already pre-selected. I can adjust the quantity, and I can hide different information here. So as far as different kinds of things you could put in this quote, it just is, they've really thought of everything. You can put upcharges, you can put a running subtotal, you can create a heading or a subheading if you want to separate things, move them around. You can add a video or an image to this quote, separators and attachments. So there's all kinds of things you can do with this quote. And I hope what you see here is that there's so many things you can do with it. And there's so many options, you might come away from it at times, as I did, with your head spinning a little bit. Okay, so you're in a quote, you're looking at this quote, and you say to yourself, I want to see what this looks like right now in this point in time. So I recommend you come down, click on Save. But up here in the right-hand corner, you'll see it says Preview, and I'm going to click on Preview. And now it's going to open, and it will show me what the quote looks like. Now, you can leave this quote open, and as you go back and edit the quote, if you want to see some adjustments and what it looks like, you can just simply save it, come back up to the quote, and refresh it to see any updates you've made. So now that we have this quote, we can email this quote to someone, and let me show you how you do that. If I come down below, I can click on Save and Send, and when I save this, a new box will open up with pre-formatted information related to this quote. Now you can have different templates. I could have the ice cream template, I could have the chocolate ice cream template, the ice cream package template. I can email it out to someone, and when I do that, what they will see on their end when they get this email is this link right here. Now that link is something they can click on, and then when they click on that, it will open in a web browser so they can see the quote. When they see the quote, what they can do on their end is accept the quote by clicking on that. They sign it with their name, their email address, and accept the quote. So that will come back to you, and at this point, they can be redirected to a place where they can pay for this quote, or you can set it up so potentially you send them an invoice. So there's a lot of options here as far as the way payment is accepted. Also, it shows the IP address of the person accepting the quote. So now that the quote is accepted and saved, it's going to be marked back in this area as a closed quote. When I look at the activity dashboard, you'll see that the sale was won. You can see all kinds of information about it. If I click on this drop down, more information. Okay, so let's go back into this a little bit more. As I mentioned, we have reports, we have templates we can develop. The template is, let's say you sent out a quote today for chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry to a prospect, and you come back and you say, hey, I got to send out another quote for chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Well, you can save the last quote you sent out as a template so that it makes it easier to send the next one and the next one. So you can save templates. You can add products either on the fly or in advance. If you have products in ACT already, you can bring this information in. If you want images, you can add an image into your quote. You can have little thumbnails of the product as well. If there's documents, maybe instructions you want to have go out, you can upload those files and send it out with the quote. So it's quite extensive what you can do with Link2Quotes. There's a lot of stuff, and I think at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is a very simple question. Is it worth your time to learn this software and learn how to use it? So first, you have the ability to set it up and get it working exactly the way you want. And then second, if you have staff, is it worth it to be able to take this information and then teach your staff how to do it? If you create templates, if you create simple steps, it's going to be much easier to teach your employees because they don't have to know all about the setup. They don't have to know any of that. So if you think of it as, is there an administrator who can manage this for you to get things done so the end users can use this effectively and productively. And in my opinion, I think this could be a good product for a lot of different reasons. So I've given you a lot of information here. I find it difficult to make this shorter, but I really want to give you an overview of some things to think about before you invest in this. Frankly, the cost of the software is really nothing. It's not that much in relation to what it can do for you. And I do recommend you get some help. And if you need help, you can always reach out to me. I offer training and consulting in this product, and I can help get you going. Those are my thoughts. I hope you found this helpful. And I do think this product is really something that could be excellent for you. Okay, my friends, you have a great day. Be well. Bye now.